Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be reading brief horoscope interpretations by Juan Estadella. Now the reason he gave these rectified times in his book Nuevas Tecnicas Predictivas is to demonstrate the importance of having a properly rectified birth time. There is a list of rectified birth times in the book Predictive Astrology for people who want to study rectified horoscopes and compare them with their respective biographies. Now, in this first example, we have Marie Antoinette. The cusp of the fifth house, which is related to pleasurable activities, is located at the Jupiter-Moon midpoint, with an orb of 32 minutes of arc. In addition, Jupiter is squaring the ascendant. This aspect signals exaggeration and lack of measure in every way. Uranus in opposition to the IC and Pluto in square to the MC-IC axes, next to Saturn on the cusp of the 8th house, is indicative of her tragic end. The ruler of the ascendant is in square to Saturn. Princess Diana of Wales. Uranus opposing the cusp of the 3rd house, and the conjunction between Mars and Pluto in the 9th house, which is squaring the ascendant, justifies her fatal car accident. Notice that the Sun, the ruler of the 9th house, whose cusp is in conjunction with Uranus, is in conjunction with the cusp of the 8th. A direct connection between the 9th house, long distance travel, and the 8th house, death. Her philanthropic work is related to the Sun-Neptune water trine, which is almost exact. Her access to royalty is facilitated by the Jupiter trine to the midheaven, a configuration similar to Grace Kelly. In her case, that was a sextile. Lewis Carroll, the creator of Alice in Wonderland. The moon in Sagittarius, in conjunction with the ascendant, gave him imagination and intuition. The square with Jupiter, Jupiter being in the 3rd house, practically in conjunction with the cusp, was important in his literary creations. Venus and Mars, the planetary binomial related to games, in a broad sense, is visible in his works. 3 planets in Aquarius: originality, innovation. Marcel Proust. The extreme sensitivity and literary refinement of Proust are justified by Neptune in conjunction with the ascendant, and secondarily for having the moon exalted in Taurus in the 1st. The opposition between Jupiter and Neptune, both being in good cosmic conditions, on the MC-IC axes was very productive for his literary career. Walt Disney. Pluto on the midheaven is frequent in people who revolutionize their profession in some way. We have Prince in music or Francois Mitterrand in politics. Both have the same combination. The artistic sextile between Mercury and Venus closely involves the 5th house, which is related to creations, artistic works, by the conjunction of Venus with the cusp of the house. As an artist, the Sun-Uranus conjunction in the 3rd house was important, which is in sextile to the moon in Libra in the 1st. This multiple configuration is entangled with the midheaven by Uranus, which is opposing this point. Anthony Gaudi. The sand end of this celebrated architect is marked by the conjunction of the midheaven with Algol, a malefic star. The trine between Mars and Uranus can be related to the ingenuity of Gaudi regarding technical improvements in the construction process itself. His architectural line is influenced by the location of Venus in Leo, which is in square to Uranus and Pluto. The 8 signs and occupied houses are related to his multifaceted nature, controlling the entire construction process. Horatio Nelson. Mars ascending in Scorpio, in sextile to the midheaven, was a fundamental combination in the life and military career of this great English admiral. Note the trine between Jupiter and Neptune, the latter being in the 9th house and in quadrature to the ascendant. The dispositor of Neptune, the Sun, is in the 10th house. His death in combat finds a justification with Pluto in opposition to the cusp of the 8th house. which is also squared by Uranus from the fourth house. Irvin Rommel. The angular T-square observed in his horoscope was extremely productive in his military career. The exact Sun conjunction with the midheaven and in sextile to the ascendant helped him to ascend and stand out in his career. His ability as a strategist, being a cold calculator and planner, is marked by the Saturn trine to the ascendant and in sextile to the midheaven, along with the sextile between the Sun and Saturn. Mercury aspects also help in this regard. Mars in a damaged cosmic condition in the 8th house and squaring the ascendant was a very dangerous configuration for a military man. Franco. The rectification of the birth time advances the angles of the subject a few degrees, allowing the T-square to become angular, galvanizing the horoscope with considerable planetary force. The hardness of this radix is impressive. Mars in opposition to the ascendant and in quadrature to the midheaven, and the Sun is in quadrature to Mars. However, it has a protective compensation. Jupiter is in a sextile to the midheaven, and the Sun is trine to Jupiter. A magnificent Saturn, which is exalted in Libra in the first house, well aspected with the Sun and the Moon, which both are on the midheaven, helped him in his career and later as a head of state. Rocky Marciano. This is the remarkable horoscope of the only undefeated heavyweight champion. Jupiter, elevated and in conjunction with the midheaven with an orb of 8 degrees, is in sextile to an angular Sun. The Moon in opposition to the midheaven gave him great popularity in life. His rock-solid, tough boxing, which displays a great deal of strength, is justified by the ascendant in Capricorn, with its exalted and elevated ruler, along with the angular Sun in sextile to Pluto, which is attached to the Mars-Venus conjunction, which is also related to wars and games. Uranus opposing the 8th house is closely related to his violent death in an aviation accident.